Thank you very much for coming today. I'm Walter Hang. I'm the president of Toxics Targeting. We're an environmental database company, and for the last 5 years we've been compiling extensive information on natural gas and oil drilling, extraction hazards, and we've been working very closely with citizens in New York to protect our environment and public health from potential Marcellus shale fracking. I've worked very, very closely. I've been honored to be associated with former Mayor Matt Ryan, Aaron Heaton of Sequel Care, and Dr. Benjamin Purkis of NIRAD that has done so much to protect the southern tier. We're going to make some very brief statements and then we'll be available to answer your questions. So the bottom line is today I'm very pleased to announce a new coalition letter which requests that Governor Cuomo withdraw his nearly 5-year-old draft supplemental generic environmental impact statement. I'm probably the last person to have read this document. It's completely outdated. It lacks any current information. It is simply unsuitable to base a final decision on whether or not to allow shale gas fracking in New York. The most important thing is that the health impact analysis ignores literally hundreds of recent studies, government investigations, and new technical information. When you look at the document, it's so ancient, it's so outmoded by scientific standards that we believe it simply has to be withdrawn. As you know, before a final SGEIS can be adopted, in addition, the Department of Health has to complete a review of the health impact analysis in the draft SGEIS. And again, that health impact analysis is just totally inadequate. It ignores so much current information that we believe that Department of Health review has to be halted, and instead, a comprehensive public health impact study has to be conducted to resolve these health hazard concerns once and for all. Once that public health impact study is conducted, we believe that the Department of Health should work very closely with the DEC to adopt a brand new generic environmental impact statement. So this entire SGEIS proceeding is based on the theory that New York State has been adequately protected by the generic environmental impact statement that was adopted in 1992. So that document is now 22 years old. It's completely ancient and it has to be rejected. So I would also note that Governor Cuomo has repeatedly stated that his decision to decide whether or not Marcellus shale fracking should be allowed in New York would be based on, quote, good science, close quote. Well, good science has to reflect the currently available reports and studies. And again, this draft SGEIS simply doesn't do that. I want to note two things in closing. So it turns out that Marcellus shale has been touted as an economic panacea. But let's look at the record. So essentially in 2007 there was a mini boom of gas. But between 2007 and 2013, gas production in New York State has dropped 52%. And it's essentially at the same level in 1989. So the little mini boom has basically gone bust. The same thing essentially happened with crude oil production. It's been going down for 70 years and it's now at the lowest level in a century. And so the total amount of oil extracted in all of New York State on a day-to-day basis wouldn't even fill one backyard swimming pool. And in the most recent year for which permitting data are available, only one gas well was drilled and produced, completed for production in the entire state of New York. So for the first time, we're beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel where we can make sure that if gas drilling and oil drilling are permitted in the years to come, that we'll avoid the kinds of contamination problems that have plagued our state for nearly 2 centuries. On that note, I'd like to introduce Matt Ryan.
Hello. As a lifelong resident of Binghamton, first of all, I'd like to thank my colleagues for joining me today and inviting me to be here today. Because I think you know, as a lifelong resident of Binghamton and as mayor of the city for 8 years, I've always been an ardent proponent of protecting the southern tier environment and all of our environment. I studied environmental law as an undergrad, taught environmental law for 10 years at Binghamton University, and this is always, all these issues have always been very important to me because clean air, clean water are the things that we need to create a future. I was the first mayor to sign on as a signatory to the original coalition letter which called for the inadequate 2009 draft SGEIS to be withdrawn, and that led to the draft SGEIS being updated in 2011, but it was never adopted or updated during the last 3 years. So there's a lot of things that have happened in this industry. All you have to do is pay attention to what's been going on across the border and see every week there's something new they find wrong. There's something, you find the way they're doing things, like complaints going to their Department of Environmental Protection were being ignored. Different ways of dumping are being found that are causing problems. They're already talking about it, open air pits, getting rid of all open air pits. So slowly people are starting to realize more and more the dangers of this industry. So we're calling on the governor respectfully to withdraw this antiquated document, the SGEIS. Really, this is, when you get to the end game of fossil fuel extraction, that's why they call it exotic drilling, because it is the end game for fossil fuels. And it's fraught with more and more chemicals, more and more potential pollution related to the drilling and the dumping of this waste. And we all know that this waste is not being treated as hazardous waste as it should be because of the special exemption it got under the Bush administration. So we're calling on the governor, if he really wants to have the strictest standards, we will treat this waste, we will treat everything, we will look at everything and have the best regulations ever. And I believe that will, they can't do this kind of extraction, which will cause all this pollution, which is bringing up radioactivity, which is showing up in wastewater plants all across Pennsylvania and areas where it's being dumped. So what we're calling on is the governor to keep his promise, to base this on science. None of these documents that are actually absolutely essential for this industry to go forward have been updated for several years now. So the best way to do is go back and do the proper environmental impact statement for this industry. There's never been one done for this industry. It was going to be a supplement. That's not adequate for all the things we found that this industry causes problems, all the time, the types of problems it causes. So we're calling on the governor to do the right thing, withdraw the SGEIS, start all over again, start a real comprehensive health impact statement, and make it so people can trust whatever happens down the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt.